Thank you so much for calling attention to our sport that literally no one cares about.
Megyn Kelly recently pulled back the curtain on how the WNBA treats Caitlin Clark, sparking a firestorm in the sports world. Known as the Michael Jordan of women's basketball,
Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. Something exciting and electric and totally worth watching, and probably a once-in-a-lifetime kind of player.
Caitlin isn't just facing fierce competition, she's enduring outright hostility on the court. Kelly exposed how the league seems to turn a blind eye as Clark is repeatedly targeted with ignored fouls and harsh physical aggression, often led by players like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson.
Caitlin is the face right now, and that's also good. Like, she's selling out gyms, of course. Like, why would you hate against that? You're the number one pick. People are going to go after you because they see greatness in you.
What fuels this? Envy, resentment, and even racial tension are brewing beneath the surface, all aimed at taking down a player who's elevating the game like no one else. But Caitlin remains unfazed.
There is nobody interesting in the WNBA past or present except for Caitlin Clark. They've all shown themselves to be sexist, racist, petty, ridiculous.
Proving her resilience and showing the world what a true champion looks like. Let's unpack how Megyn Kelly's exposure hit a nerve and why it's shaking the very foundations of the WNBA. Kelly didn't hold back. She went straight for the heart of the issue, revealing the depth of the hostility Caitlin faces.
Thank you so much for calling attention to our sport that literally no one cares about.
Despite her talent, Clark endures ongoing hostility, not only from competitors on the court, but also seemingly from the league itself.
What a bunch of spoiled, jealous brats. All I want to hear from them is thank you.
Kelly highlighted the repeated physical abuse Clark endures, black eyes, hard fouls, and all, with referees often turning a blind eye. In one game, Dewana Bonner even landed a hit that left Clark with a black eye, yet no foul was called.
Nobody disputes that she's an amazing basketball player, but still they seem resentful and angry toward her. And it's resulted in physical alterations on the court that don't get called as fouls, that the girls then deny were intentional. And Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never, points the finger, but it happened again.
This isn't just tough competition, it's targeted aggression. It's not only the physical blows. Players like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson fuel the tension, turning what should be spirited competition into something more personal.
What's a lesbian look like? Angry. You got the angry African-American lesbian who just can't handle somebody coming into their league as a white girl with a bunch of...
Clark's ability to rise above this hostility is what truly sets her apart. Rather than retaliate or complain, she channels everything into her performance.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in.
Despite the physical toll and emotional strain, she keeps breaking records, lifting her team, and drawing unprecedented attention to the WNBA. Kelly's revelations aren't just calling out injustice, they're a wake-up call for the league.
One thing Caitlin Clark does maybe better than anybody in sports right now, makes it about others, makes it about team. Think about it. When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never. Never. You never hear that. Now, that's why their team has gotten good. She could have been an egomaniac. Everybody in the league knows that she is the league.
Why, Kelly asks, is Caitlin Clark the very player bringing in viewers and excitement facing such hostility? The answer, she suggests, lies in a complex web of envy.
Thank you so much for calling attention to our sport that literally no one cares about.
Fear of change and reluctance to fully back a player redefining women's basketball's future. Kelly's fearless reporting has forced some hard questions. The WNBA, a league that should be celebrating Clark's achievements, seems to be tangled in internal politics.
She's amazing and she's getting all this attention, and some nasty press reporters are upset about it. We read a piece on Friday with this woman saying the face of women's basketball has been black and it needs to stay black. Okay, racist.
Resentment and resistance to the very kind of success Clark represents. This isn't only about the game, it's about the league's culture and its readiness, or lack of it, to support its rising stars.
Who, by the way, I'm gonna go there, who happens to be white and brought a level of attention and allure to the sport it had not received before.
Kelly didn't stop at the physical confrontations. She went further, exposing racial tensions simmering in the WNBA.
There is nobody interesting in the WNBA past or present except for Caitlin Clark. They've all shown themselves to be sexist, racist, petty, ridiculous.
Caitlin Clark's rapid rise to fame has sparked resentment, particularly among some black players in the league.
One of the more interesting aspects of this fanhood is that some of the biggest supporters of Caitlin Clark are not whites. They're actually black males.
Kelly noted that players like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson haven't held back their disdain, suggesting that Clark's race and her popularity are creating friction.
Caitlin Clark is starting to push Aja Wilson for MVP of this league, and I am not exaggerating. She is starting to push Aja as the best player in the league because I don't see anybody control a game the way Caitlin can.
The spotlight on Clark isn't merely about her skills, it's colored by perceptions of privilege, with some framing her success as linked to her being a white player in a predominantly black league.
Why is it a problem that the majority of WNBA players are black? Caitlin Clark, who's got all this attention, is white. So I would like people to start appreciating this woman's talent and stop talking about the melanin in her skin. It's racist.
This resentment is evident not only in words, but in the treatment Clark receives on the court. She faces relentless criticism, both for her gameplay and the massive media attention she garners.
She's really looking out for everybody else. And it's so sad that there are so many people that continue to turn a blind eye to that. Knowing how selfless she is, and they still want to say, Caitlin Clark, she's not the reason. Let's give other players their flowers. No, Caitlin Clark is the reason.
The notion of a white player stepping into the league and drawing this level of praise has struck a nerve. Kelly emphasized that this tension has created a hostile environment where Clark isn't just fighting for victories, but also for basic respect in a league that seems wary of her success.
There is a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. The WNBA has 18 games this season where they've had more than 1 million viewers averaged, and 16 of those 18 have featured Caitlin Clark. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlin Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
The tension extends beyond the players. It's embedded in the WNBA's culture. Kelly brought to light the league's struggle to manage the attention that Clark brings.
The WNBA tried to capitalize on her popularity and crammed a lot of games in over a short amount of time, playing against the best teams in the WNBA.
Rather than embracing her as a growth opportunity, some within the league appeared determined to knock her down. This racial tension complicates Clark's journey, turning her success into a broader social issue rather than just an athletic one.
The biggest reason that she's popular is it's the Steph Curry syndrome. She looks a lot like the girl who's out shooting hoops next door, and she plays like we are all capable of playing.
The WNBA's silence in the face of this tension is concerning. By not addressing the hostility and letting unchecked aggression slide, the league fosters a culture where talent takes a backseat to bias.
It's my pretty privilege. Just shut up. Like either that's important to you have that vanity, or you don't, but stop bitching about it.
Clark's poise and focus amid these challenges reveal her strength, but they also highlight a significant issue: the league's inability to protect players from both physical and mental strain.
The ratings were phenomenal because of Caitlin Clark. But we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible for the WNBA mattering.
Kelly's analysis of these dynamics has sparked a discussion that goes beyond basketball, touching on fairness, respect, and the WNBA's willingness to support all its players. Clark's journey is as much about pushing the sport forward as it is about challenging social norms in women's sports.
And she is transforming the sport into something mainstream, which is what the WNBA was set out to do. They have never had a mainstream start.
So here comes the female GOAT, and these women are going from having 3,000 people in their arenas to 20,000.
Kelly's investigation didn't stop there. She also uncovered the systemic problems that allow this toxicity to persist. One of the most shocking revelations is how the league fails to enforce fair play. Despite Clark's star power and her role in boosting the sport's popularity, the WNBA seems hesitant to intervene and shield its biggest asset.
Her team was playing the Connecticut Suns, and the player tried to get the ball from Caitlin, and at the end, Caitlin plays for the Indiana Fever. At the end, it seems pretty obvious to me, intentionally scratches.
Kelly pointed out that this isn't just a matter of oversight. There's a deeper issue of the league's reluctance to hold players accountable. Kelly explained how this lack of accountability empowers Clark's detractors.
Caitlin Clark is starting to push Asia Wilson for MVP of this league, and I am not exaggerating. She is starting to push Asia as the best player in the league because I don't see anybody control a game the way Caitlin can.
And sets a troubling precedent for the sport. By ignoring blatant fouls and allowing abusive tactics, the WNBA signals that intimidation is acceptable.
Caitlin Clark was the solution for so many things, but so many players, coaches are also painting her out to be the problem. There was all of this just nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides.
This impacts not only Clark, but also every player hoping to make it big. If the league can't protect its brightest star, what message does that send to new players? The WNBA is also missing a valuable chance. Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-lifetime talent who's attracting viewers, sponsors, and attention to women's basketball. Instead of capitalizing on her popularity, the WNBA's internal conflicts and unchecked rivalries risk halting its own progress. Kelly emphasized that rather than striving to improve, players like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson seem to be intent on undermining Clark, fueled by jealousy and the league's passive stance.
Caitlin Clark is becoming the best player, not because she's white, because she's that good. She's having Larry Bird impact. She's been the driving force of the hottest team in the entire league, despite her record turnovers. Why? Because she's that good.
This toxic atmosphere not only affects the players, but damages the league's image. Kelly argued that if the WNBA wants to succeed, it must address these problems head on. This means safeguarding players like Clark from abuse and fostering an environment that champions talent. The league stands at a crossroads.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie, targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA.
Continue down this path of division or step up for integrity and the future of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's resilience in the face of these obstacles is inspiring, yet it shouldn't be necessary. Kelly's critique is a call for the WNBA to prioritize fairness, tackle its internal issues, and nurture an inclusive, supportive atmosphere for all players. The league's future hinges on how it addresses this situation, with Clark's story at the heart of this turning point.
But they're so envious of her because she's so good and so annoyed by the fact that she's white, because we're seeing this in magazine after magazine, that they treat her like she's persona non grata.
In the end, Megyn Kelly's bold stance has forced the WNBA to reckon with its own issues. Caitlin Clark is more than just a player. She's a beacon of perseverance, breaking barriers, and excelling despite it all. But this is more than her personal fight. It's a call for the league to protect its stars and build a fair, competitive space. Caitlin's journey is only beginning, and as the WNBA navigates these challenges, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark's story is far from over.
But they don't want it to grow if it's certain people at the face. And there is still this undertone of jealousy that for some reason I cannot get around calling it anything else but that, because I don't know what else it could be.
If you're ready to dive into the latest and greatest moments in women's basketball, you're in the right place. Here on WNBA Original, we cover everything from breaking news to inspiring stories, bringing you closer to the action and the players who make it all happen.
Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star.
Watch her play. She plays at a high level.
She's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll always be the first to know what's happening on and off the court. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from WNBA Original.